Shortly before going on the Tamron Hall TV show on ABC several years ago, the producer said to me, "You're going to probably receive the hardest questions you've ever received from anyone in the media. Would you like to know the questions?" I said, "No, that's okay. I feel comfortable responding." Of course, I knew Tamron Hall was going to ask about our work at White Collar Advice and why do we help rich, privileged people, in this case, parents in the Varsity Blues case, buy their way out of federal prison. We have a different message, of course, namely, we're helping them demonstrate through their own efforts why they're worthy of leniency, but I had done enough media to understand their objective. Before the interview, the producer asked me to introduce them to a female criminal defense attorney in New York who can contribute to the program. When Tamron interviewed the defense attorney went rogue. She said these parents really shouldn't be able to mitigate. It's not right. They're trying to buy their way out of prison. She argued they should already be in prison. Tamron and her audience clapped, while in my case, they booed at my comments. After the interview, I called this defense attorney and said, "You recognize you are a defense attorney, right? And your goal is to try to keep your clients out of prison as best you can. And on national TV, you just articulated or diminished the role of mitigation." And she, in a roundabout way, said, "Yeah, I think I got caught up in the moment and kind of gave them what they wanted to hear." I'm never going to give my audience what they want to hear because that would make me an inauthentic fraud. I'm going to convey a message that I believe to be true, that's in the best interests of our country, knowing that that will be off-putting and anger a number of people, including those who support my work. It is 9 o'clock in Orange County, and for the first time ever on a YouTube video, I'm having a beer and reflecting on a very difficult conversation I had with a victim of Jennifer Shah. And I share that story about Tamron Hall because I wanted to be authentic in that interview on live TV, just like I wanted to be authentic and honest in this call I had with this victim. And I'm going to talk you through that call with the victim's permission and offer some insights, and I'll let you decide. For transparency, I know what victims have been through in this case. I'm not naive. I've been in this game since I surrendered to prison, April 28th, 2008. I know the pain that victims feel. I've heard it before. I created victims in my own case. And I know in the Shah case, some victims are suicidal. They blame themselves. It's led to divorce, depression, destroyed finances to the degree that some people may never recover. And I know some victims have said, "I don't care if I ever get my money back. I want to see this woman buried underneath the prison." Others say, "I want the money back, but I want her to serve the hardest time possible." And I try to put myself in the shoes of Jen Shah's or anyone's victims. If I was victimized and robbed, I too would want justice. The question is, what is justice? And that's the question. That's the discussion I had with this victim who called and was very polite. And this victim said, "I want you to know I saw your interview with Jen, and I've spent a lot of time watching your videos. I've read your book, and you seem like a good person. You seem genuine that you want to help people. And I want to commend you for that. But why are you working with her? Why are you working with her? How are you helping her? She stole from me. She hurt my family, and I'm not alone. How can you help her? Why are you doing this? I can't reconcile this, Justin. It doesn't seem consistent with the man you're striving to become, the husband and father you want to be, that you would take someone like this, that you would help someone like this, without recognizing or fully recognizing that my company, White Collar Advice, works with people who are ostracized, kicked aside, called scum, trash, filth. That's what people called me before I surrendered to prison for 18 months on the 28th of April, 2008. I empathize with my clients. I believe they want to do better. If you watch any of our videos, it's about reconciling, creating, and documenting on the record what you plan to do moving forward. And this is how people in your community are going to hold you accountable. That's what I tried to do in that video with Jen Shah, not relitigate the past, what she did. Why didn't you share her text messages? It's not my role. My role is she created victims. She says she's going to make them whole. You can't do that through Happy Talk. You've got to document it every single day, build it in prison, come home and make your victims whole. So on the call with this victim, she was very direct that she couldn't believe I was working with this person. Then I asked her, "Well, what's success for you? What's success for you?" She said, "I want my money back. I want my money back. This woman hurt me. She hurt my family. I want my money back." Then I said, I understand you want your money back. It's possible she'll pay you back. I believe that. Nobody believes it. People make fun of her. They don't think it's possible. People said the same thing about me. I told this victim my restitution was only 10% as much, but I found a way to pay it. Took some time, but I did it. I said, she will pay it back. It will take some time, but she'll do it. She's in prison. She's programming. She's adjusting. She's not complaining. She's teaching. She's learning. She's trying to build a new record. Wow, that doesn't mean anything to me, Justin. She's in prison right now. She's not unable to pay any of that money back. That's utterly ridiculous. Okay. What's next? What else is upsetting you? Well, I'll tell you, I was thrilled, Justin, that she got 6.5 years in federal prison. And I started watching your videos, and it makes it seem like it's a party time 101 inside of these minimum security camps. Bocce ball, Justin. Did you know, Justin, that people play bocce ball in prison? I said, yes, I do. I work in this industry. We had a lab. Bocce ball, pickleball, softball, tennis. It's party time. She's in prison for 6.5 years. She's not even suffering, Justin. This is even worse. And I said to her, you have to understand, Jennifer Shah did not create the system of corrections in this country. She did not create or build the minimum security prison camp in Bryan, Texas. She's in prison. She's doing what she's supposed to do, but she didn't build it. She didn't create it. Shouldn't fault her. Don't hate the player, hate the game, I think some people say. Well, yeah, I understand that, but I thought she would be serving harder time. And I learned, Justin, she's not even going to do 6.5 years. What is she going to do, like 5.5? And I said, may I speak directly to you? She said, yes, please. Okay. You should know it's probably not going to be 5.5 years. It might be more like 30 months. And that really upset her. And then I said, does it really matter in your life if it's 30 or 40 or 50 months? Because you told me you want your money back. Let me propose something different to you. If you knew that Jen Shah could be working and not in prison, and the lion's share of that money would go to victims, including you, would you support that? You know what she said? Absolutely. Especially because I believe her life in this federal prison camp is cushy and fun and easy. And I don't think she's suffering. So if she's not going to suffer, at least let her work, go back on TV or do whatever the hell she does and get me my money back. I said, okay, I think we can come to a consensus there that you should get paid back. And I'm of the opinion, as I expressed to Tamron Hall and as I expressed to all of you, including this very nice woman who called me from the Midwest, I believe, that we do send too many people to prison in this country, especially nonviolent offenders. And I believe it's in the interest of victims. We always talk about the victims. They're like throwaways to so many people, right? It's happy talk. It's the buzzwords. It's window dressing, to use some parlance from when I was a stockbroker. It feels good to talk about the victims, but we don't really prioritize the victims. If we did, we'd recognize the longer we expose people to the system of corrections, we'd recognize the more inclined they are to fail, utterly fail. We'd recognize that if people make bad decisions and they're held accountable and there are victims, perhaps there could be a path to getting your license back. Perhaps there is a path to having the felony conviction removed, which makes it likelier that they could work again to sustain themselves. Perhaps if we recognize if you have a felony conviction, you shouldn't get fired from every single bank, it might be easier to reacclimate. Perhaps if the DOJ didn't issue myriad press releases unnecessarily every time someone gets into trouble, it would be easier for that person to work again. So not blaming, not excusing, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, nor am I an apologist. I'm not saying if you break the law, there shouldn't be consequences and go to prison. But I did convey to this victim with whom I empathized with her, and I said repeatedly, I am sorry, and if I were you, a victim, I would be angry and irate and frustrated too if you think she's having the time of her life inside this minimum security camp. But I'm telling you this not to make you feel better or to placate or mollify you, but to tell you the truth. It's not a club. It's not a country club. There are pitfalls inside of this prison. There are problems. It's difficult. She misses her husband, her children, and she knows it's all her fault. She ruined her career, her reputation. She hurt people. She is not sure if she will ever work again, though she's working all day, every day to try. She's working. She does not complain once. And I communicate. No complaining. No kvetching, as us Jews like to say. No complaining. She's doing the work, avoiding problems, and it's harder when you're a celebrity going to prison because people have their eyes on you. They want to make an example out of you. And there was some of that, but she's gotten through it successfully because she understands what success is. Getting out, rebuilding, and yes, paying her victims back. I also articulated to the victim, and I do think this made her feel better. I said, yeah, I will acknowledge that prison can be the easiest part. I'm tired. Boy, I've been up since 4:30 in the morning, but I want to film this. Kind of like when I was in prison, and I would memorialize it with a blog or in the book. I just want to film this right now before I go to bed. There is some truth that prison can be the easiest part of the sanction, right? It's clearly defined with a beginning and an end. And I think it made this victim feel good. She was very kind. She doesn't want her to suffer. She just wants to be made whole. I think it made her feel good knowing that even though prison may be the easiest part of the sanction, it truly is a lifelong stigma that accompanies a felony conviction. I will feel it till the day that I die. My beautiful children will endure and talk about the fact their father went to prison. My parents, I'm sure, still discuss it, despite the success some people think I have had and what I've worked to build. It doesn't change that I went to prison, man. And it's something I'll live with forever, like Jen Shah will. And I think that made her feel good. And she kind of felt guilty about feeling good. And I said, don't feel guilty. You've been hurt. And you need to be made whole. And you're not going to be made whole while she's serving a 6.5-year prison sentence. You need her working. And I said, can I tell you about some policy initiatives we think make sense? She said, tell me. I said, well, I'd love if Jennifer Shah got sentenced to 6.5 years, that she should build a record and demonstrate why she's worthy of an earlier release. Perhaps after 2 years, I'll be out in just 1 second, okay? After time to put daughter to bed. Let me get it together. Jennifer Shah gets sentenced to 6.5 years. How about creating a process where after 2 years, if she's built a record that shows why she's worthy of an earlier release, a parole board grants that. Then she has like a work release program. She goes out and works. She can go back to the prison. The money that she makes, the lion's share of it, goes to the defendants or goes to the victims. And she said, I can get behind something like that. The idea that you're earning your way home. So it's 9:13 here. I do not want to ramble. I wanted to memorialize this. A video just after this call happened from this very nice woman that called. So this is how I'll close. Empathize with victims. And victims in this case have had it tough and bad. And I never want to discount that. And I'm never going to say there shouldn't be consequences for breaking the law. I spoke with one specific victim, and she made clear she wants to get paid back. And she agrees the only way that she's going to get paid back is when Jennifer Shah returns home. She makes money and repays it. And what a career I have. What a business I have. I am fortunate to work with people like Jennifer. As much as that bothers some of you, I'm fortunate to work with people like Tracy, Hatsuna. As much as that bothers some people, I'm fortunate to know the Chrisleys. As much as that bothers some people, because I believe they can become better. And I see it every single day. And like I like to say, time will tell if they're going to follow through on their commitments. Tracy, the Chrisleys, and certainly Jennifer has followed through on the commitments they've made to our team, and I'm proud of them for that. Thank you for watching kind of a random, weird video. I'm going to go put my daughter to bed.